Hello, you're very welcome to my shed or workshop or studio, whatever we want to call it. We're here in Sligo in northwest of Ireland, up over Lough Arrow. Grand spot to be. Now, there was always an open fire in our house when we were growing up, and sometimes depending on the way the wind would blow or if somebody banged the door, you'd get a puff of smoke down the chimney that would fill the room with smoke and the smell of peat, or turf as we call it here. When our lads were growing up, they hated the smell of this stuff on their clothes, and they used to be afraid that their friends would get the smell of turf off them when they go out. Anyway, it happened many's the time. As the years went by, anyway, the two lads ended up immigrating to the US, as lots of Irish people did. And one of them went to LA and the other lad went to New York. And when we'd visit them, we'd have to bring over a supply of Barry's tea and Galtee bacon and Clonakilty black pudding and sausages, and of course some of Myra's lovely brown bread. One morning we had the fry going and the pan was going strong, and the smell of the bacon was all over the apartment in Los Angeles. And David just said to me, he said, you know, the only thing missing now is a puff of smoke from the chimney. So anyway, we were going over to see them again that following Christmas, and I started looking in souvenir shops and online and trying to find something that would regenerate the smell of peat beyond. And no disrespect to the people, what they're doing there already, but I thought the things I found online were a bit gimmicky and touristy and a bit diddly-eye Irish, which I didn't like. So I decided to make them two chimneys similar to the chimney we had at home in our own house. And that Christmas Eve, when they arrived in after doing their bits and pieces, I had one of these lit in the corner of their apartment, and the place was smelling of Irish peat. The place was half full of smoke. So the thought was deadly altogether, and the evening went on and we had a great old crack, and their next door neighbour came in. She found the smell and she came in to see what the hell these Irish pups were smoking. She thought I was after bringing over some drug from Ireland that she hadn't heard about. And I suppose in a way it was a kind of a drug. Anyway, then the next thing was one of their friends saw what I was doing, saw one, and they asked would I make one for them, and I did. And then a neighbouring woman came in here one day and she saw one and she insisted on getting one for her daughter in Abu Dhabi. Now I was never in Abu Dhabi, and it's unlikely I ever will be, but I know there's one of these boys beyond in Abu Dhabi, and it's been used a lot because the other day she rang me to get her a new bag of peat because she'd used up all the turf. So basically I make three different types now. I can make any size or shape that you want. I can even do one from a drawing. I can reproduce an old house from a drawing. But just bear in mind that they're very heavy, and anything bigger than what I have here would be very, very pricey to mail or to ship. This little baby here, for instance, is about 10 pounds weight. This one here is about 15 pounds, and this one here is about 22 pounds in weight. So they're pricey for shipping. But I can assure you anyway, there's nothing gimmicky or diddly-day about these. They're made out of pure solid stone and concrete. They have a real grate here, and they burn real turf from the bog. The turf comes from Carnagulcha bog. There's no point saying it's cut by hand and brought home with an ass and cart, because it's not. Thankfully Ireland has moved on from that era. But it's real turf, no chemicals added to it or anything. Now, I also like the smell of wood burning. It reminds me of holidays in the Alps when you go into the mountain hut in the evening after walking, or the lads would be skiing, and you'd have your glue wine or your schnapps in front of a good log fire. So as well as sending over a little bag of turf, I do send over a bag of sticks as well, so you can do either one. They both work equally well. So basically all you need is a night light, a little tea light. You just light the tea light, put it in under the grate, and put your set of turf on top of it, and within a few minutes you'll have the smoke coming out of the chimney, and you'll have a lovely smell of the peat in the house. If you don't like either peat or wood, you can use these, as I call them, smelly oils. This one here is geranium. And all you do is you fill one of these that has been used, fill it with water, put a few drops of this into it, and instead of putting on a set of turf, you put on this on top of the nightlight, and it'll sizzle away there all night and give a nice smell. So I do three different sizes as standard sizes. This one I call the cottage fireplace. It just has the grate with the door. There's no knob on that door yet, but I will put one on it. And then the little loft window there. This one here then is the cottage. So this one has a window each side of the door, and then it has the little half door here. These half doors was what was in most Irish cottages. They were very handy. You could open, on a good day, you could open the top part, and you could leave the bottom part closed, and it kept out the hens and kept in the children. So it was very handy. So that's a very popular little one there. And then the bigger one then is the country farmhouse. So this is the same idea on the bottom, but you have 3 windows on the top here, and you have the loft window on the top. They used to call the attic a loft, so you always had a little window up here in the loft. Sometimes the children slept there. Now you can also light these from behind. Each window you can light with a tea light. All you do is just put in the tea light, light it, and you get the windows all lit up, and it's lovely. So as a finish then, we'll say this one here is the standard Irish cottage, the white cottage, and the windows and doors are painted whatever colour you like. You can get red or green or yellow or blue, and that's just pebble finish there, where you stick the pebbles onto the concrete and then you whitewash over it. It's all white finish. So this one here then, the finish on this one here is, again, it's a white background, but instead of using the natural stone, these are pebbles that I picked below on Coney Island. And Coney Island is, people laugh at me when I talk about Coney Island. They don't realise we have a Coney Island over here. But we have a Coney Island just out, it's about 2 miles offshore below in Sligo Bay, and you can actually drive out to it. And when the tide is out, there's lovely stones you can get on it there like that, and I do pick them, and I pick the shells there as well. The 2 of our lads now are moved to New York, and I suppose the reason I like Coney Island is that this is as close as I can get to them with my old Jeep. So these stones, they don't look much when you get them like that, but if you break one of them, you get some lovely colours coming up in them then. And when I'm breaking these, I do pretend I'm cutting gemstones. The other finish then I can do is just shells. These shells are from Coney Island as well, and you get lovely colours in those, and again, when they're varnished, they come up really nice little colours in those, or you could have a mixture. Basically, I use these little moulds here. That's the bigger one there. I use these little moulds here for the various shapes and sizes, and I put the chimney into it like that. Then I fill it with concrete and stone, leave it for a couple of days to set. Then I take it out and I put it down to make the base. And I just put it on the base, set it in there, and leave it for another couple of days to set. So I paint in between the stones with a little brush like that, and then all of the timber work has to be painted. It gets about 3 coats of paint, and once I'm happy with the finish and that it looks right and everything, then I give the whole thing a coat of varnish, and it brings up the colour of the stone. Very nice. So if you do decide to get one of these for your own home, or for to give as a present to somebody, I hope that they'll bring a bit of the peace and the quiet that I have here. And my wife just told me that I'm as happy as Larry when I'm at these, and definitely I love doing them. A bit of nostalgia is no harm, but we have to be positive and remember that the world is a much smaller place now than it was years ago. Believe me, I know what lonesome is, and I know what it's like to have loved ones away from home. And many's the day I went down to Coney Island and sat on a rock looking across at Manhattan and wishing that I have a bridge that I could drive over. But we have our memories. Hopefully most of them are positive memories. And it's very important always to remember that no matter where you are in the world, you're never more than a thought away from someone that loves you. Thanks very much for spending the last 10 minutes with me here, and thanks a lot.